everybody, welcome to Learn with Steph. This is one of the videos as part of our Lessons in Law series. The focus is on OCR A Level Law, but it will be useful to anybody studying law. If you like the videos, please do subscribe and press the like button at the bottom. This series of lessons are all about torts connected to land. And for the OCR course, you need to study public nuisance, private nuisance, Rylands v Fletcher, and the defences connected to this area. In addition, each of these topics, that's public nuisance, private nuisance, and Rylands, will need to be evaluated and potential reforms considered. I will do the evaluation in a completely separate lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to be considering public nuisance in detail. We're going to be looking at what public nuisance is, the meaning of a class of Her Majesty's subjects, the sorts of damages that can be claimed for, and then we're going to look at the specific defences available for public nuisance and the main remedies available. First of all, what is public nuisance? Well, this is where a number of people are affected by the use of land in the locality. So in a specific area, a number of people are affected by what is happening. Now, in Attorney General versus PYA Quarries, Lord Justice Romer says it's something which materially affects the reasonable comfort and convenience of a class of Her Majesty's subjects. It's well worth learning this quote. Just a quick note, however, when the courts and law reports refer to nuisance as a term, they are generally referring to private nuisance and actually not public nuisance. However, if a statute refers to nuisance, it will usually mean both public and private nuisance, unless the statute states otherwise. So what does a class of Her Majesty's subjects actually mean? Well, this is actually going to depend on the facts of the case. However, it's likely to be more than 2 or 3, but no minimum number is laid down. Clearly, this is going to be an evaluation point. And do all members of the class need to be affected by the nuisance? The answer to this is no. However, in court, it would have to be shown that a representative cross-section has been affected by the public nuisance. So we've already mentioned this case, Attorney General versus PYA Quarries. And in this case, a local quarry was accused of affecting residents in terms of noise and pollutions. And the residents claimed that they had lost enjoyment of their property because of this. So a public nuisance is a nuisance which is so widespread in its range. That's the definition. Widespread in its range. So you can only claim for special damages, and this is different from special damages that we've talked about before when we've looked at damages for negligence. Special damages can include loss of enjoyment of land, as in the quarries case, damage to goods, personal injury, and even financial loss. So if you get a scenario involving public nuisance, you need to look at what has actually been lost or damaged, and is it a special damage? Because if it isn't, there can be no claim for public nuisance. Really famous case here, Corby Group. And actually, very recently, there was a fabulous documentary about this case. You might be able to find it perhaps on the web. Well worth watching. And here, children were born with deformities, and it was claimed that this was as a result from toxins in the soil from a local steelworks. They won their case, and the Court of Appeal said that public nuisance is an unlawful act or omission which endangers the life, safety, health, property, or comfort of the public. Again, worth learning. There are some specific defences to public nuisance. So we have the usual defences such as valente or consent. Contributory negligence could be another one. So this is, of course, where the claimant has contributed to their own damage. And as you are aware, this may reduce any damages awarded. Another defence would be that the nuisance is permitted by statute, in which case it would be said to have statutory authority. So perhaps there's local building taking place, and that building is as a result of planning permission being granted. That would be statutory authority. So there would be a defence to any public nuisance. Note though, the prescription defence that is available for private nuisance is not available for public nuisance. So if a claimant wins their case for public nuisance, they could be awarded an injunction or even an award of damages. You should now be able to define public nuisance, explain a class of Her Majesty's subjects, explain what is meant by special damages. You should be able to identify the specific defences to public nuisance and the main civil remedies. If you can, you'll be ready to look at a scenario, because as you are aware, you are either going to get a scenario or an evaluation question on this. And either of those questions will be worth 25 marks. That's for the OCR A Level Examination Board. Let's apply our learning to a scenario. Always worth reading the question first. Consider the rights and remedies, if any, the motorists have against Tom in connection with the obstruction. So if you read this question first, you would straight away probably be thinking this is likely to be a public nuisance question. In the village of Success, Tom regularly parked his large van in a narrow lane when making deliveries to a local shop. This caused several obstruction problems for motorists in the area, making several of them late for work at a local factory and consequently being docked wages. Looking at this scenario, can you identify whether there has been a public nuisance? Apply that definition made in Corby and made in Quarries. Has a class of Her Majesty's subjects been affected by Tom? Have there been special damages? Can you identify what words you might quote in an answer? Would Tom have a defence, do you think? What remedies do you think a court might consider to deal with this problem? The next lesson will be on private nuisance. Make sure you tune in. That brings us to the end of this lesson in law. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like it and subscribe to find more videos. Bye.